Our judge is ready. All right, our next teller from North Carolina, and actually Laurinburg? Are you from Laurinburg?
No, not very far.
Wait for it, nobody who lies in Laurinburg comes to lie to us, right? No, maybe that's not true. But Ken Grant from Great Course, North Carolina.
Long, long ago, when a galaxy far, far, no wait, that's another story. Long ago, when I was a young boy, 18, 19 years old, had the opportunity to work as a deckhand on a riverboat on the Mississippi, the Tennessee, the Ohio, and the Atchafalaya rivers. Now, deckhands on riverboats have a lot of things they have to do. Important things like checking the tow cables and making sure that all the cables have the right tension. We had to chip paint and paint the decks. We had to clean the galley and clean the captain's quarters. We had lots of things to do. One of the most essential things I had to do was to make sure I took a fresh pot of coffee up to the pilot every hour on the hour. This was essential to the safety of the good ship and crew. Now, one of the other tasks I had to do was to replace the carbon rods and the arc light on top of the wheelhouse. Now, this was a tricky task even in the daylight. And my first opportunity to do this job came at 2 o'clock in the morning on a dark and cloudy night, heading south on the Atchafalaya River in South Louisiana. Now, most of you are probably familiar with mosquitoes. And I got to tell you, I've seen some ferocious ones in my life. But these South Louisiana mosquitoes were something to behold. Some of them were as big as eagles. There was one mosquito that was so big it had an FAA tail number on it. There were smaller ones as well, and as I'm up on top of the wheelhouse changing these rods, every time I opened my mouth, I drank about a quart jar full of tiny mosquitoes. I was being eaten inside and out. I could feel the little beast chewing on me. I finally managed to get the the carbon rods changed in the arc light, and I heard this terrible thumbing, whirring, buzzing sound above me. I looked up and I saw the two biggest mosquitoes I have ever seen in my life. These mosquitoes were so huge, they flew down, each one grabbed me by an arm and flew off down river with me. Now, I don't know what to think, but I'm pretty scared. What happens at that point is, I hear the mosquitoes start to talk. Now, I'm from North Louisiana, and they were speaking in the Cajun dialect. But I understood enough to know what they were saying. The big one said to the little one, should we eat them on the bank or take them into the swamp? And the little one said, if we take them into the swamp, the big ones will take them away from us. So he said, let's take them over to the bank and eat them. Well, that was all I needed to hear. I knew I had to do something. I had to do it quickly. I started thrashing and punching and kicking and screaming and squirming until they finally dropped me into the Atchafalaya River. Now, just the afternoon before, I'd seen crowds of alligators in that river. And I knew they were down there even now. As I plummeted 20 feet down to the dark river, I went down, I came back up and surfaced, and all I could see around me were green glowing eyes. I could almost hear those gators smacking their lips. And I knew I had to do something quickly. So I noticed a sandbar not far away with a tree on it. Because even if you can get away from an alligator in the water, they're about as dangerous on land as they are in the water. So I needed to get up the tree on that sandbar. I'm a pretty fair swimmer, always have been. That night, if I'd have been in the Olympics, I'd have taken home all the gold. I swam so fast, only my fingertips and toes were touching the water. I got to the island and up the tree inches ahead of the granddaddy gator. Now I'm up in the tree, and I need to get off this island. I knew my boat would be coming downstream pretty quickly, and I needed a way to contact them. I could yell. But they had two 450 horsepower diesel engines on that boat, and I knew they'd never hear me over the yelling, over the engines. So I mentioned how big the mosquitoes were in Louisiana. The South Louisiana lightning bugs are just as big, and they have 200-watt tail lights. I saw one big one fly near me. I slowly reached out my hand, held my breath, grabbed him by the leg, held on tightly to that leg, and pulled him in. And as the boat rounded the bend in the river, I could flash an SOS by flashing my hand behind the stern. Well, sure enough, the captain saw it. He sent the skiff over to pick me up, chased off the alligators, got me aboard. Well, I'd lost about 1.5 quarts of blood to the mosquitoes. My face was all pale and drawn and haggard. So as we continued on downstream, the captain decided to drop me off at Lake Charles at the emergency room. I went in there and he said, we're going to go on to Houston, pick up our next load and turn around and come back. We'll pick you up on the way back up the river. I'm in the ER. They top me off with some good high test, B positive. I come back out and rest up a day or two. The boat comes back. Now, I get back on. The rest of the trip is incident-free. Life is good. I've learned now to change the carbons in the daylight. Don't go up there at night. But ladies and gentlemen, friends, I carry the reminders of that night with me every day. That's the night my hair turned white.